Welcome! I make this clear case Canon EF 50mm f1.8 lens since I got some comments suggesting me to make something related to camera. So thank you, your comment is really helpful. In this video, I will do the disassembly, case making, and reassemble the whole lens, and finally I will do the video testing on this lens and some close-up shot of the internal component when it's working. So stay tuned to find out can it really work and how is the image quality. This legendary budget camera lens from Canon is very famous. I think many of you guys have one at home, just like me. To disassemble this lens, first we need to take away the two screws securing the connector. Then we can pry open the bottom cover of the lens. Now the main motherboard is very visible. And then pry open this cover for the manual focus button. It's secured by adhesive, so if you heat it up a little bit, it will be much easier to take away. This mechanism transforms vertical movement into horizontal movement. The next step is to take away the metal clip securing the outer case to the lens body. After wiggling for a bit, I found out you need to retract the lens in order to take out the lens body. Let's play around the clutch for the manual and autofocus. This mechanism will disengage the motor from the gear. You can turn the lens much easier and without damaging the motor and gear. I put on protective film to prevent scratching to the lens. Using a plastic ply tool, gently ply away the front lens element. Since the part with the aperture, the main motherboard, and the focusing gear and motor is so complex, so this part I cannot make it clear. Also, the front lens element, I cannot take away the lens without damaging the case. So these four parts is the only part that I can make clear. Take out the manual focus button and the legendary red dot for EF lens. It just push fit in without any glue. Take out the metal ring from the main case. Clean up the case to prepare for mold making. Measure the size of the part to make the mold box, and then laser cut the acrylic board. Glue them together. Make the mold runner for each part. I will make the full tutorial on mold making and casting later, so please stay tuned and subscribe. Put them all inside the box. Measure the volume to estimate the silicone we needed with the silicone and hardener. Mix them together, degas the silicone. Pour in the silicone into the box. After it cured, open the box and cut open the silicone to take out the part. Tape back the silicone mold to secure it. Measure part A and part B of the epoxy. Mix them together and then use a syringe to squeeze in the epoxy. This one is a failed mold. The case fall out from the runner, but I try to make the casting anyway. The result is surprisingly good. This is the finished casting. You can see it's a bit opaque and not transparent, so I need to add a clear coat on top. After adding the top coat, you can see it's much clearer and transparent. Now trying to put back the focus ring, the main body, and the front element back together. Test if the focus ring can turn smoothly. You can see when I push that gear away, the motor is disengaged, so you can turn the focus ring freely. Now try to put back the outer case, but find out without these two metal rings, the whole lens will fall apart. Since the casting will shrink a little bit, so the metal ring is a bit difficult to fit in. After heat it up a little bit to soften the epoxy and do some trimming of the epoxy, finally I put the metal ring back inside and then put the retention clip back to the main case and the manual focus button. put the two metal clips that transform horizontal movement into vertical movement and then screw it back on. Try to fit the cover back. Since the clutch is not at the right place, so I need to push it back and try to fit it in again. Some super glue to secure it. Sadly, the legendary red dot doesn't fit, so I need to cut the tail and then use super glue to fix it. Almost there. Finally, I removed the protective sticker and fixed the two screws for the connector. Finally, put the bottom cap back. Voila! All done! You can clearly see all the components inside, especially the motor and the focus gear. Let's see if it can really fit onto the EF ring. I used Canon f1.8 and an adapter to change to EF ring. You can see it can fit in, and now we can see it's click, which means it completely fit to the EF ring. It looks very cool. Let's test if the manual focus button works. As you can see, the lens is already trying to focus. The camera now is in video mode and set to servo autofocus. This whole lens only have one set of lens, so when it focuses, the whole set of lens push forward and backward. The photo on the bottom left corner is the perspective of the camera. Since there is a very strong bright light on top of the camera, so there is a very serious light leak to the lens. When I use the hand to cover the light, it becomes much better. But you can see dual pixel focus is really strong. Even under very serious light leak, it still can focus. Second test. This time you can see more clearly how the motor and gear push the lens. Top right corner is the real perspective of the camera. I put my hand in front of the lens to block the view to make it refocus. You seeing the screen black out is because the IR sensor triggered by hitting the table, which makes the camera think I'm looking at the viewfinder. So it's completely normal. In this test, you can see the camera really can focus, although there is some play between the focus ring and the main body, but it didn't affect its function. The third test is at the same perspective, but this time the screen is much more clear for you guys to see. I changed the focus by pointing at different objects. You can see it still can focus. I would say the focus time is very similar to the original lens. A more close-up view for you guys to see the motor and gear moving when the lens trying to focus. There is a motor speed sensor telling the motherboard how fast the motor is spinning, similar to this one at the top left corner. Finally, the manual focus button. As you can see, when I click it up and down, it pushes a gear, engage and disengage from the gear. Now it's in autofocus mode. When I turn the focus ring, the motor spins together. Now I turn the button into manual focus. The motor is disengaged, and when I push the focus ring, the motor stops spinning. When the manual focus button is pushed, it will also trigger a button on the motherboard telling your camera it is on manual focus or autofocus. So next time when you turning a manual focus button, appreciate there's a lot going on inside your camera lens. Now let's do another test shot. Now I use two fake Farrer for this test shot. You can see there are no hassle on focusing from different Farrer, and you can still hear the legendary budget camera lens focus sound. So thanks for watching. Tell me in the comment what you want me to make next. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.